Hey guys, it's Joe from GadgetryTech.com, and what I have behind me is the 2018 Lexus LC 500. I've been waiting a long time to drive this car. I finally have had it for about a week now, so rather than shoot the video at the beginning just to go over everything, I figured I'd drive it for a while first so I actually know kind of the ins and outs of the car. So this car starts at $93,000. As equipped behind me is $103,000. You get things like 21-inch wheels, you can get heads-up display, another upgrade, stuff like that. But let's go over the basics. So this car has a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, 471 horsepower, and 398 pounds-feet of torque. Now that equates to a 4.40 to 60 time and a top speed of 168 miles an hour, electronically limited of course. All that hits the ground with a 10-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters for the spirited drive. Now I'm not going to go over all the speeds and feeds of this car because there's something different about this Lexus than I've seen with other cars. And that's the experience and the feel that you get. Now Lexus has come a long way as far as the driving experience goes. This just kind of takes everything they've learned and all the progress they've made over the last few years and turns it into a grand touring car. Now this car at $100,000 isn't cheap, but you get the experience that makes you feel like you did get what you spent. One nice thing is when you eject the car or want to open the door, push in on this, it's now unlocked and the window drops down, of course. You close it, window goes back up, and I can lock it just by pushing this closed. There we go, now it's locked. Now as far as the design goes, let's just talk about sex appeal, shall we? So you have a huge swooping fender on the back. I mean, the car narrows up a lot. You have that low swept roof line, which of course makes the rear seat a little bit more tight, but the visibility is surprisingly good because these pillars are so far back. So it's still very easy to drive. And when you have this giant flared fender, it has a very unique look that you don't see on a lot of other cars. This thing has giant 21-inch wheels. Big tires to back that up, of course, because it has a lot of horsepower and a lot of weight, so you need a lot of rubber on the ground. Now this LC 500 is in that dark gray, which does hide a couple things that might stand out more if you were to get a bright color, such as the black bottom diffuser here. The side view mirrors are actually black. They're not painted gray like the rest of the car. So things like that. Now the gray is very sleek. It almost looks like it complements the smoke taillights. This whole thing has a nice L shape. Lexus for the last few years has actually had a lot of the L emblem integrated into their lighting design and body lines of the car, hence this sweeping L right here. So they kind of want to instill that Lexus vibe throughout the vehicle. Now as I mentioned, the exhaust is just a single chrome finish on the back on each side, but there are 2 small exhaust tips on the inside. Backup cameras right here. It does have the radar built in, so if you're backing up or driving forward, it'll tell you not only if you're going to back up into something, but if you're reversing out of a parking spot, it'll beep and let you know if cars are coming, stuff like that. Surprisingly, it does have anchors for car seats in the back. I tested it. You may see it in the camera there. I actually had my son drive in it earlier, or ride in it, I should say, and he fits well in the back. So it is functional. The LED taillights stand out really nice at night. I'll be sure to overlay some pictures so you can see how those lights look, but that basically covers the back of the vehicle. Now, as you've known from other Lexus vehicles, this of course has that large spindle grille, which has been refined repeatedly over the last few years with each new iteration of a Lexus vehicle, the LS and ES being recent ones of those. The LC 500 is no different. This is probably the best looking spindle grille so far. The chrome breaks it up a little bit. You have a different color diffuser at the bottom here, or a diffuser looking accent, if you will. You get your large Lexus emblem up front, of course, and I don't know the best way to describe this. It's a very unique grille shape, but that is obviously very functional as far as airflow goes on a car like this. And as I mentioned before, you get the triple LED headlights. This is a functional blinker, so unlike a lot of other vehicles that use the LED daytime running lights, when you put on your blinker, they typically turn off and turn into an orange turn signal. The Lexus, this is one of the few vehicles I've seen that has a functional LED headlight for a daytime running light, and when the blinker turns on, you still see that white accent. It's not either or, you do get both, which looks really nice, especially at night. So this is what it's like to drive the Lexus LC 500. Awesome. That's stunning. Holy crap. I mean, so here's the thing. It has 10 gears. Sure, you can use them all. You know, they're fairly short when you're just cruising around. You don't have to shift all the time. But when you wind it out, you would think 10 gears would be able to be utilized more from a performance standpoint. But it's almost like the extra gears at the end, 8, 9, and 10 are throwaway gears for fuel economy and keeping the revs down. Third gear will do above the legal speed limit on almost every state in the country. So, and this is the United States, of course, but then you have fourth, fifth, and sixth that get you thrown in jail, basically. And all the gears after that are to save gas while you get thrown in jail. So, when you're on a racetrack, sometimes if you have the one gear that can get you out of a corner, it's nice because you don't have to worry about shifting so much. But I almost still wish it was just a little bit shorter, only because the car is so good at shifting with regards to sounds and feel. I wish I could do it more. Coming out of a corner or an apex, I want to blast through the gears and feel like I'm in a rally car, just a supercar, if you will. And this car's got a ton of power. It really pulls hard, but it does it with less shifting than you'd expect for a 10-speed transmission. The responsiveness of a V8 naturally aspirated cannot be said enough about how that makes the car feel when you drive it every day. Sure, a V6 twin turbo that makes 550 horsepower or a smaller V8 that's turbocharged is going to feel faster and will perform faster with raw numbers, when you really open it up. But if I want to accelerate out of a corner or in traffic, I don't have to wait for anything. The engine's ready to just do it, and that's part of the advantage of a big naturally aspirated V8. Now, another advantage is it's very reliable. I don't have turbos to worry about. I don't have oil pressure to worry about. All I have is an engine with some oil and a filter. It's very easy to maintain. So that says a lot. And if you're happy with the performance, which I can tell you if you drive it, you will be, it's really the best of everything. And somehow, because of the 10-speed transmission and the ridiculous drag coefficient, it's still rated for 26 miles per gallon on the highway. With a 4,000-pound car that makes almost 500 horsepower, that's insane. So you're not sacrificing a lot. The bad, of course, because it's such an aggressive style, is the rear is a little bit more cramped. It's got a low swooped roof line. So I wouldn't expect 4 adults to fit in here comfortably. I'm 6 feet tall, and if I position the driver's seat the way I'm comfortable of driving, if I put my fist behind the seat, my fist is touching both the rear seat and the back of my driver's seat. So I wouldn't expect 2 6 feet tall people to sit one in front of another. Now, this car also has multiple driving modes, of course, just like the other Lexuses. This has a couple extra ones. So basically you have Eco or Economy, Y, Comfort Mode, Normal Mode, Sport, and Sport Plus. Sport Plus is obviously super aggressive. That'll hold the revs out longer, even in automatic mode. It's going to firm up the steering feel, the suspension, everything's tight. I love the placement of everything else. I mean, the selector or the levers for your windshield wipers, your blinkers, the knobs above it this time, instead of having knobs where your armrest goes to control things like the Sport Plus, traction, stuff like that, they actually stuck them right up here on the dash. So everything is in front of you. It's adjust while looking forward, not while looking down. But to counter that, a not adjust while looking down thing, the climate control on the seats, as far as the heating and cooling, it's all through the stereo. You can't actually control it through a knob or a selector anywhere, which I thought was really weird, because it seems like the car is very well intended to minimize distractions and keep you looking forward. However, some of the things that people often turn on and off while they drive is buried through a couple layers of menus on the stereo. But listen to that. I'm not even getting on it. I'm not revving and racing the engine. I'm at 3,000 RPMs, and it just sounds like it's ready to go. This car is not using speakers to augment the sound. There's a lot. I'm not going to compare this to a BMW M4 because they're very different cars. They serve a different purpose. The RCF is there for that. But when you have a high-performance vehicle making almost 500 horsepower, I kind of feel cheated if a speaker is making it more than what it is. Because, if I'm spending that much, why do I need fake sounds? It should be doing it. That's why I love cars like Ferrari, things like that, because they might not be the fastest car on the road, given their respective price points, but there's something to be said about the way they sound and make you feel when you drive it. and this Lexus has done that. So that, you know, that's, how do you quantify that? Now, would I spend $100,000 on this car? I think so. And I'll tell you why I say I think so. It's not the fastest car for $100,000. I mean, it's a Grand Touring car. I prefer to have as fast as I can possibly have for the money because I love performance. But I don't want to sacrifice everything else just to get performance. And I think this is one of the few cars that really gives you that level of sophistication on the track and capability while not totally compromising your day-to-day life as far as your driving goes, commute, reliability, resale value, all those things factored in. You're still getting a Lexus, but you're getting a car that can run circles around a lot of performance vehicles and make you feel like a superstar doing it. I mean, it's like, you know, the Lexus version of a James Bond car. So yeah, if I had 100 grand, I'd be driving this. I don't see why I wouldn't. It's the engine, even when you start the engine, it revs higher. It's not like a normal just start the engine and it sputters to life like most cars. It revs it up a little bit to make you, just to remind you that you bought a stupid fast car that looks just as good as it is fast. So it's little things like that. You know, you can't put that in writing because it's an experience. If you want the experience, the LC 500 is that. Okay, so this isn't typically how we end the video, but unfortunately, we had no choice. As you could tell in the opening of this video, we had a lot of winds out here, and with winds in Southern California typically comes wildfires when it's very hot out, which it was, and as a result we do have some wildfires in the area. So with possible evacuations, the car is being picked up. My family and I will be safe. We're all good to go, but unfortunately I couldn't provide you with more of those exciting parts of the video that most people look forward to, such as the drive-bys, the high-speed driving, exhausts, all that stuff. The opening video of this did have the actual LC500 exhaust starting up in my garage, so at least we got that before we had to give the car up. But I do hope that the content we did provide to you was entertaining enough and you got to enjoy what was there. There is additional content online for many reviewers, owners, and enthusiasts on the LC500, so I suggest checking out YouTube for some really good content out there. But again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please leave a comment below if you have any questions. If not, thanks for watching again, and we will see you next time.